For all your t-shirt needs, check out TeePublic's Killer Selection. Follow the link in the description. Hey, what's up, people? Pizzal here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the Amazon Prime exclusive series, Jean-Claude Van Johnson. And in Jean-Claude Van Johnson, we find the muscles from Brussels, Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's retired from show business, but he is very unhappy in his retirement. And one day he decides that he's back. He goes to his agent played by Felicia Rashad, by the way, and tells her that I'm back. And she says, oh, great. I've got this script set up at Paramount. I've got this script set up here. I've got this script set up here. And each script sounds like it's for a more and more just ridiculous movie. Ed Van Damme says, no. When I tell you that I'm back, I don't mean JCVD. I mean Johnson. And we discover that Johnson is Jean-Claude Van Damme's code name, as he is part of an elite undercover black ops crew who masquerade as people in show business. And when Van Damme is not on the set of Huck playing Huckleberry Finn in a very over-the-top adaptation of that Mark Twain story, Johnson has been tasked with tracking down an elusive drug kingpin. And I've never really talked that much about Jean-Claude Van Damme on this channel, or any Jean-Claude Van Damme movies in particular on this channel, but I'm a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. I've been a fan of his for a long time. I always felt like Van Damme had this quality about him that the other action stars of that era really didn't, and that was a vulnerability and a kind of innocence that I really jibed with in those films. And I don't know if you guys remember Columbia House. Well, Columbia House, of course, you could buy 12 CDs or 20 CDs or whatever it was for the price of one CD, but they also had a subscription service for movies, for VHS movies. And a buddy of mine who lived across the street from me back in the day was a Columbia House subscriber, and he decided that he was going to collect all of the Van Damme movies. So even though I'd seen, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Cyborg, a bunch of Van Damme movies up to that point, once my buddy started collecting all of the Van Damme movies that he possibly could get his hands on through Columbia House, literally from No Retreat, No Surrender, all the way up to, gosh, I don't remember at what point he and I kind of lost touch, but for the bulk of Van Damme's career, I saw every single Van Damme movie. And really right up to around Replicant, I had seen every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. So I'm a fan of the Van Damme. And I went into Jean-Claude Van Johnson having seen some of the advertisements for it before, various YouTube videos, and thinking that it looked kind of fun. It looked like a meta comic action movie, kind of, poking fun at the idea of an action star who's actually really, when he's not playing an action star in movies, he's actually a for real action star. So I went into it really not knowing what to expect. And I have to say, I absolutely loved Jean-Claude Van Johnson. I loved every single minute of every episode, because Jean-Claude Van Johnson is an expertly written, highly entertaining, absolutely hilarious series. You have all the great action moments that you would expect from something starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, but this has so much heart in it. And I love Van Damme's own self-awareness of his own issues and of his own past, and of, kind of being deemed a, one of these washed up kind of action heroes. And I give all the credit in the world to Van Damme here, because not only is he that self-aware, and he takes it that far where I don't think I could not imagine Steven Seagal in this kind of role. There's no way. Steven Seagal A is not that self-aware, and he probably actually literally thinks that he probably was the greatest actor who ever lived, but that's a completely other story. My hat is absolutely off to Van Damme here for being that open and just sort of, wearing his heart on his sleeve and exposing himself to everyone. And his performance in Jean-Claude Van Johnson in this series is absolutely phenomenal. This is some of the best acting I've ever seen from Van Damme. And I know, you can say, well, he's just kind of playing himself. Well, he is, but I think he kind of is and kind of isn't, but he's doing it, like I said, in such a self-aware, self-effacing kind of manner that it is hilarious, it's heartfelt, and it just feels so authentic. All of the performances all around by the supporting cast in Jean-Claude Van Johnson is fantastic. Like I said, the action sequences are fantastic as well. There are so many just absolutely laugh out loud moments in this movie at Van Damme's expense. There are so many references to his movies. This was a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal series. If you're a fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme, you owe it to yourself to watch Jean-Claude Van Johnson. If you're just an action movie fan overall, you definitely need to watch this movie. If you just want to see a highly entertaining, hilarious, fun, but with, like I said, some real heart and some real emotion there as well, Jean-Claude Van Johnson's right up your alley. What I'm trying to say is you need to go watch Jean-Claude Van Johnson. It is awesome. I loved this series. There are 6 episodes. Yes, 6 episodes in the first season. I really hope they do a second season. The series is executive produced by Ridley Scott and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Bravo to the writers, to the directors, to the creator of Jean-Claude Van Johnson. I believe his name was David Callahan. I was floored by this series. If you are not an Amazon Prime subscriber, follow the link in the description and sign up for a risk-free 30-day trial of Amazon Prime. And before you check out all the accoutrements of being a Prime member, like the 2-day free shipping, the huge library of movies that you can stream through Amazon Prime for free, the free music, all the accoutrements of Amazon Prime, the very first thing you should do after signing up to be a Prime member is check out Jean-Claude Van Johnson. This was a really, really fun, really well made. I just can't say enough good things about Jean-Claude Van Johnson. Go check it out. If you're already a Prime member, go check it out immediately. If you're not a Prime member, follow the link in the description. Sign up for a risk-free 30-day trial of Prime and check out Jean-Claude Van Johnson. If you've seen Jean-Claude Van Johnson, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. They're also right around here. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Join the $1 a month club and help support my channel on Patreon. Thank you to my current patrons, Turi Delamore, Farron Sutton, Jeremiah Lambert, Derek Jana, Richard Mead, and Orc145626. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.